Hey y'all, it's your girl Toyia T, and today is our health and wellness episode. Y'all see my shirt, strong, it's beautiful. This is true, right? And anybody that knows me knows me. I don't really like to work out, so I had to bring in the big guns, right? I brought in Megan Popp, who is somebody I went to. Actually, it's not Pop, it's Pope. It just looks like Pop. She's somebody I went to high school with, so in the network from Babies and Burpees. And then we also have Chef Corey on the show today. So looking forward to getting some perspective from them and allowing them to share some tips and tricks for how you can stay healthy and make sure that you are living a happy, healthy life. So with that, we'll go ahead and start the show.
Hey, Toya.
Thanks for joining us, Megan and Corey. And of course, I still said Megan Pop, but Megan Pope is here today, and Corey Savage here with us. That's going to give us some tips and tricks around wellness and health and healthy living. So,
yes, thanks for having me.
Jump right in and have you guys do a quick introduction. Whoever wants to go first, feel free.
Ladies first.
All right.
Corey, thanks. Hey, all. My name is Megan Pope. It does look like Pop. And as Toya said, we go way back all the way to junior high school. And I'm so happy to be joining her today to talk with you guys about all things health and wellness. I am a busy mom of 4 little kids. I work full time in the corporate setting. And my hobby turned passion project is being a health and wellness coach and helping other women and men, but predominantly women, realize that carving out time for themselves, making time for themselves is really the best way that they can, serve themselves and take care of everything else they have going on in their life. It took me a little while to learn that lesson. And once I realized what a difference it made in my life, it was really important to continue to share that message with others. So I'm super happy to be here today.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you with us. Corey, do you want to share a little introduction as well?
Yeah, sure. My name is Corey Savage, quite naturally, as you can see on the screen, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But my health and wellness journey,
just
I guess it was kind of
first,
I've always been a gym rat. Yes. So I'm a director of nutritional services for Ohio Living, and I do all the meal planning, catering, anything that has to do with food. I handle all that for about 120 residents roughly.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so that's kind of what I do now. And I'll do catering as well, meal prep, healthy cooking, all that kind of stuff as well.
Yes. And Corey actually just recently catered my 40th birthday party and did an amazing job. So his culinary skills are being tested and proven out here in the marketplace. So you have to definitely check Chef Corey out. So we'll go ahead and start the conversation. And the first question I want to ask you guys, because when people like me, who I don't go to the gym, I'm not a gym person. I am like totally against the gym. I like to do things that are fun and fit. So I bought some roller skates. I like to do that kind of stuff to work out. But I feel like everyone has their own moment. So was there a moment in time that really influenced your health and wellness journey overall? Like what brought you to that place? I know, Megan, you were talking a little bit about having kids and getting back to it after childbirth and rearing and all that stuff. What would you say was the moment that really influenced your health and wellness journey?
Yeah, so I'd always been pretty active. I was an athlete, growing up and in high school and stayed relatively active even through my first couple of pregnancies. But after I had my third and I had 4 babies in 4 years, so it was a bit of a chaotic period. But I think that with that third one, a lot had happened in our life. We were in a new city. My husband was in a new position at work. We had no support system whatsoever, like no family and friends around. We very unexpectedly lost my father-in-law and then had a baby who ended up spending time in the NICU, all in about like a 4-month period. So my anxiety, I think now it's way more common for people to talk about postpartum anxiety, but even 6 years ago, that really wasn't discussed quite as much. You know, I heard postpartum depression, and I definitely was suffering from postpartum anxiety and kept thinking like, well, I don't think I have postpartum depression. And I was just kind of in this gray area. And I was in that victim mentality, right? Like no one understands how hard this is. No one gets like how tired I am right now, you know, probably picking fights with my husband, not like accepting help from others very easily. And I can remember being in the shower one day and just having this moment of, it's no one else's job to make me happy other than me. You know, it's just like truly like a light bulb went off. And, you know, I was a runner. I liked going to the gym. I was really into CrossFit. The idea of working out in my house like made my skin crawl. But with 3 small kids and being in a new city, I couldn't easily like get up and go run. I couldn't take my new baby who had just left the NICU into gym childcare. So I called a girlfriend who was doing a Beachbody program that I had scoffed at for years and was like, I have to do something, even if it means I'm working out at 4:45 in the morning after I nurse number 3 and before number 2 gets up. Like I've got
Shanti.
Yes.
I did do him for a little bit.
I started with the Shanti program, and in a matter of weeks, I felt better than I had in months and months and months. And it's really when I realized that I have to take control. I can't wait for somebody else to come in and show me the way. And, you know, exercise isn't always a one size fits all thing. And because what I was used to doing wasn't working, it took me a little while to realize like, okay, well now maybe is a season that I do work out at home and I do different things that are movement related just to kind of get some of that energy back and some of that joy back. And that's really when things like flipped for me. It was a mindset shift for sure.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you make that point that you do have to pivot, right? Because your world changes. And so all of a sudden you have to do something different in order to stay fit and to stay healthy and sane, right?
And you have to be so aware of the stories that you tell yourself, right? So if you keep saying, I can't work out at home, or I can't do this, or I'm not a runner, or I can't go to the gym, or whatever that block is that you have, ultimately, like you're the creator of your own story. So if you keep filling yourself with reasons why you can't do something, you're never going to see that path. So, you know, surrounding yourself with other people that kind of help you break down those barriers can be really helpful. But that's really where kind of this next phase of my health and wellness started.
Absolutely. Corey, do you want to add to what your health and wellness journey was, or if there was a moment in time?
Yeah, you know, I don't know if I had an epiphany, so to speak, but honestly, I was always a gym rat. I remember growing up in Laughlin, I used to walk to Wyoming High School and work out in the summer, and I was probably like in the 5th grade. And I would walk in there, and you know, they didn't know me. I was kind of a big kid anyway, so they would just let me lift weights and not mess with me. So it was just always something I was always interested in, something I've always enjoyed. But I think too, what kind of helped me too, when I came home from culinary school, I wasn't working, kind of ballooned up, got big, and my brother was like, "You fat." And he didn't say it like, "Bro, you need to work out, you know, you laying around." He said he had a little something extra in his voice that kind of stuck with me, like, you know, like, okay. And then too, you know, I think it's personal, just the way you view yourself. Just like you said earlier, Megan, the stories that we tell ourselves. So in my mind, I am this ripped, sexy dude, but in reality, I'm not, because I work with food. So I'm always chasing that guy, you know. I'm always chasing that rip, you know, Shanti built, you know, I'm like a cross between a chef and Billy Blanks, you know, because I've always loved working out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been the, you know, the positive, encouraging guy. So I think, you know, working out and me serving people as the way I do with my profession with food, kind of helped to shape who I am today as far as my outlook on fitness, eating healthy, because one thing I always tell people is you can't out-train a bad diet. We are what we eat, and that does not change for you. That's a law and a principle that's just there, and you have to accept it and work with it. We are what we eat. So you have to take all these things into mind, you know, when you go out to eat, and, you know, and just start the healthy choices. So I think just that path of me wanting to look nice really was what kind of started. And plus, you know, honestly, you know, being a chef, it can easily lead to a very unhealthy lifestyle. I've worked with a lot of overweight chefs That's all they do. You know, they diabetic, and you go after you get off out of the restaurant at night, you go, you drink, you do all these things, you know, and it's just, if you're not careful, it can lead to a very bad cycle. So, I did not want to be that guy. That wasn't my story I was telling myself. So.
Right. And I think it's an important point that you make, that you are what you eat. And I think you are what you drink as well. It's so funny how when I spend time with people that I don't normally spend time with, I notice their habits. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, how many of those do you drink? I'm thinking to myself, like, that's why you can't lose weight. You just have
Diet Mountain Dew.
5 Cokes, and that's like 64 ounces per serving. Like, that's going to be really hard to overcome if you've had 5 64-ounce Cokes in one meal. So I can only imagine what happens for the rest of the day.
Right.
So, you know, I think a lot of times we don't really pay attention to our habits. We just kind of do them. And it's not until you're around somebody else that doesn't live like that or drink like that or whatever it is, then they're like, is that what you do every day? And that causes you to think about it a little differently.
Yeah.
And so Corey, you said about you can't, you know, out train poor nutrition, you can't out eat a bad diet. I mean, it's so true. I work with women all the time that, you know, their fitness might be like 100% on point. They're killing themselves in the gym or with their workouts. But, you know, ultimately your total progress, your total results is 80% nutrition. So, I mean, even if you are absolutely showing up for yourself in your workouts, but you were rewarding yourself with food after the fact, you know, you were just self-sabotaging. And so many people, I think, do that without even realizing it. So changing that relationship of what a reward looks like and moving food away, I think as a society, we're so quick to celebrate with food, right? And soothe with food. And so, you know, I think that especially as we age, you know, I'm going to be 40 this summer, and I know Toyia just turned 40. I'm noticing that things catch up with me quicker. You know, a night out, my body doesn't bounce back the same way that it used to. So as I'm aging, getting more and more intentional with my nutrition, almost like by the year.
Absolutely. Definitely. Your metabolism changes over time.
It does. But you know, what you just said, Megan, was good, because I was that guy, you know, working out heavy, pushing the weights, going to the gym with a big gallon of water, headphones on, just, you know, making a lot of noise. And me and my boys, you know, when we were younger, but I had a bad diet. So it wasn't showing up. And it was, you know, kind of frustrating, you know.
Yeah.
And when people have good, some of us just have good genetics and they're able to get that weight off. They don't stick to them. That's just not my story. So I had to start to make that shift into eating healthy. And then I even added cardio, because I was just a big weightlifter. So I had to start adding the cardio. And just like Toyia, you said you don't like to just run. I'm the same way. So I box, I do track workouts, you know, I do sprints across the football field. I even go out to the football field, even now still. I'll flip the tire if it's out there. I do all kinds of things just to keep it, I don't want to say fun, but I mean, to keep it interesting. But I get bored with just run. I can't do a treadmill.
Yeah.
So boxing and all that kind of stuff.
So what are some of those things that you do to maybe keep yourself engaged? What's some advice that you would give, either from a input in terms of food standpoint or in terms of fitness, to really stay up on what it is that you're doing? Is there any advice that you guys could give to our viewers that will help them not become stagnant or not hit that wall and just say, okay, I'm done. This is not for me. Like, genetically, I'm meant to be fat or whatever.
Yeah, so something I started doing about a year or so ago, I think it was on the Model Health podcast. I'll send it to you, Toyia, and you could even link the show notes if you want. It's a fantastic podcast. And he was talking about, you know, introducing one new food every week that you don't typically eat, right? Like if your go-to fruit is apples and you have an apple every single day, or, you know, a banana, that your body gets used to what you're eating, and it's not going to absorb it in the same way that it would the very first time that you had it. Basically, like kind of keeping your body guessing and introducing new nutrients on a regular basis. So that's something that we do at our house, is constantly trying like a different fruit and a different vegetable every week, incorporating it into our regular routine, so that you don't end up having that your only veggies are like carrots and celery because that's all you like and that's all you can tolerate. If you don't try more, how are you going to know, what your palate really is consist of? And it's great for gut health to have all of those different foods in your system. Gut health is so important from an energy standpoint, from a brain fog standpoint. So I like trying to introduce something new into our diet every single week. And then when you get really bored with your workouts, or if you're dreading them, mix it up, like, yes, workouts are hard sometimes. I'm not saying I go into mine every single day doing backflips, but this past 6 months or so, I've taken up tennis. I've never played tennis in my entire life. It's great cardio. I am a runner, but you couldn't pay me to run on a treadmill. So during the winter months, it's been great to have tennis to go do something different. I got into boxing a little while ago. I just think that there's so many different ways that we can move our body. Dance, Zumba, if roller skating, if you're bored by traditional, what you think workout is, then like get a little bit creative, because there's so many other options out there that you can really have some effective movement with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are really good. My advice for people is try juicing. That's what I had started. When I first started juicing, I was like, what on God's green earth? It was like eating a cup full of just a garden. It was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I started learning how to add the avocado to make it smooth, just a touch of honey, and then I start to put the combinations together. You put the combinations together, then you kind of, just like you said, you kind of get used to it. And then it's like, then you start to like the way you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Then then I think you're on the right path at that point. But my I always like to tell people is to make your health a priority. Just like you brush your teeth, just like you groom yourself, make your health a priority. It has to be important to you. This is the only body we got, and if we mess it up, guess what? We got to move out. And so you don't want that. You don't want that, trust me. So yeah, make your health a priority. Try some new things. Run, walk, do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, you know what too? Join a fitness group.
Yes. Community is so important.
Yeah, you need accountability partners.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You really do. And I ended up running 5 half marathons pregnant. I promise you, it's not because I'm a superstar crazy person that was like, oh, I'm going to go conquer this. We were moving a lot with my husband's job, and how we used to get to know the town and make new friends was go join a running club. Well, on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, my husband was still going to running club, and my option was like, well, I can sit home and not do anything, or I could go with him and move my body a little bit. I ended up doing something I never thought I would do and ran 5 half marathons pregnant. It was because of that community. It was not because of me. Find a buddy, find a group. It makes such a huge difference because yes.
Right. So, and they encourage you to see that it's possible.
Yeah.
Because, if somebody else has done it, then you're like, okay, well, that must be safe. At least,
right.
They survived it. Surely I'll be okay.
And it's proof, right? It's proof like that if somebody else is doing this, then I can do it too. And sometimes we just need that proof that things are possible.
Right. Like, prove to me I'm not going to die. You promise? Right. You didn't die, so therefore I should be okay. So the last question that I have, and we'll continue the conversation, but what's been the hardest part of your wellness journey? Like when you think about, when you think back to all the things that you've done and how you've come from wherever it is and what you've overcome, what was the hardest part and how did you overcome it?
Do you want to go first, Corey?
I'll go first. I think the hardest part for me is working in kitchens and the long hours, standing on your feet. A lot of times I get off, I don't feel like going to the gym. So when that time comes, so then what I have to start doing is I'll throw a sweatshirt in the car or a pair of shorts and my gym shoes in the car, so I don't have to go home. I can go right to the gym, or I can change in my office and then go, whichever one. But I think you have to push past that. And I think too, make some goals for yourself. Just set a small goal. You have to have the carrot in front of the donkey. You know what I mean? That whole scenario. Yeah, you got to put something out there in front of you, whether it's a vacation, whatever it is. But at the same time too, just you looking nice. You got to want to look nice. Summer's coming. I don't go out a whole lot, but I like to look nice. But let me tell you this too. Years ago when I started running, it was rough. And when I tell you it was rough, I started like a trot, like looking like a little old man. And I was in my 20s then, probably mid to late 20s. But even then, starting to run, it was rough because I was a sprinter in high school. So running distance was like, oh my goodness. So I kept going and I kept going. But then once the endorphins, you hear that, and then people are like, oh, the endorphins, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. But it's a true story, I promise you. Once you start to run at those endorphins, so this is what I used to do. I would be getting dressed and I'm going out, thinking I'm gonna meet my friend somewhere, and I would get this itch to run. I mean, it would be like, they say like get the endorphins, like, oh, I gotta run. I promise. And I would go, boom, take off, I would run. I had this little 2-mile planned out that I could, hit really quick and get back. So I would hit that 2-mile and then I would go home and get dressed and go out. And so my friend, he seen me at the club. He was like, man, you was just running, I swear. I said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, I had to get it in, so, and once you start, I promise, once you start, it'll become contagious and you'll get going. So, just, I would say, get started. That's your main thing. Get started.
Just start doing something.
Do something.
Right?
Yeah. In that same vein, I probably would say the biggest hurdle that I overcame was realizing like, it's not about motivation or feeling inspired. It's really about creating discipline and knowing what I want. And for me, seeing family members age differently than I want to, and I want to be able-bodied. We had a really scary situation with my 4th child, and I was concerned about what things might look like after she was born in terms of my ability to run and to be active, because it was just a very high-risk pregnancy. And I think that really put the fear in me that while I'm here, it is a gift to be able-bodied. And if I can move my body, I should every single day, because we never know when that is going to be taken away, whether it's an accident or an illness or an injury. And I just don't take that for granted. And that's really not about being inspired or having the motivation, because let's be real, like you don't want to do things a lot of the time that you still have to do. Sure. And fitness and wellness is really the same thing. Once I realized it was a discipline and I can create habits, there are several simple habits that I started early on that I still do to this day, every single day. And that helps keep me on track and remember, what my goals are. I'd love to run marathons with my kids when they're doing them. I want to go skiing with them one day when I have grandchildren. I want to be able-bodied for as long as I can. When I started focusing on that, instead of focusing on what the scale said or what I look like in a pair of jeans or in a bathing suit, the whole thing switched. It was just a completely different approach. And I really do believe like the lifestyle change.
Absolutely. What are some of those habits, Megan, that you can maybe share that people can mimic? Because I think sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? And so I always say that if you watch someone else's life, you would notice some of the things that they do that allow for them to, like you said, be able-bodied until they're 70, 80, 90 years old. So share some of those habits that people might be able to take into consideration.
So I am a big proponent of working out in the morning, even though I am not a morning person, like to the nth degree, but I believe in starting your day with a win, so sometimes that means I'm getting up very early. And even if it's only 20 minutes of movement, what it does for your mindset to move your body early in the day is just massive. And you can create that routine over the course of a month, and if your health is important, if you have goals, you can stick to that for 30 days. It takes 30 days to create a habit. So I like to start my day with a workout. I also think that tapping into personal development in some capacity, whether that is mindset, whether that is reading a book or listening to a podcast that might be focusing on an area that you're struggling. Maybe it's your confidence, maybe it's your belief in yourself, but you can train your brain, and you should train your brain the same way we train our body. And so a lot of people, when they start, they do have limiting beliefs that hold them back. And the first time they hit snooze or they feel defeated in a workout, they're gonna give up. And you really have to kind of coach yourself through personal development. So I tell my clients 10 minutes a day of something that's good for your mindset, whether you're listening, reading, make that a priority. And this seems like the silliest rule, because I hear people say all the time, try to hit 10,000 steps a day. I think that people sometimes do 10,000 steps while eating McDonald's and this, that, and the other. But what I have found is, even for really active people, if I am super active in the morning and have a very long day of interviews, because I sit at my desk a lot for work, I can go to bed and be at like 3,000 total steps for the day. So having that additional goal of steps makes me get up and go on a 15-minute walk, makes me park further away. It's the 10,000 steps goal in addition to the fitness and to watching what you eat, just to make sure that you are moving your body as frequently as you can, not, knocking out an awesome workout and then continuing to sit on your butt all day and eat whatever you want. It's really that whole picture. So those are a couple easy things that you can start implementing. And then that accountability partner, a group like Corey mentioned, is such a key component.
And if you can't get to 10,000 steps right away, start with 5,000.
Yes.
You can work your way up.
They add up so quick. I think that number sounds big, but once you start paying attention, you can get there.
Absolutely. I think I only do 10,000 steps when I go to like Disney or Kings Island. Honestly, I promise.
I bet if you start trying to pay attention, you're like, I bet I could go get like a 5-minute walk in. Just it's little increments throughout the day. It really does add up.
I'll try it. Corey, any last words from you?
Yeah, I would tell anyone that's wanting to make a change in their body and in their health. Like I said earlier, number one, prioritize it, and then just do the very, very small things. Like in the morning when I get up, before I get out the bed, I do probably 500 crunches, just right there in the, before I even get off the pillow.
Yeah, you guys are hardcore.
Seriously, but
10,000 steps, 500 crunches. I do none of that, but I'm gonna work on it.
But we're older. Okay, since we're older, those kind of things, and that it stretches my back as well, and as two is going to work on my crunches. Then two, it's going to work on my abs. Then once you get up, get your feet in, then just hit 20 squats. Let your butt touch the bed and come back up. 20, and then build up to 40. As you grow and as your body tells you, I need more. Then you give your body more. Mm-hmm. Then you head on to the shower, So I will always say, just like I like to get a good sweat in the morning. So I get up, I like to listen to something positive always, whether it's my favorite preacher, whether it's a motivational speech, whether if I just read a chapter or two in the Bible, or whatever motivational book that you choose, anything that is going to start to help you change your mind. And then two, take control of your day. All these things help you take control of your day. So when I say take control of your day, and that before I leave before I leave for work, I stop right at my front door before I grab the handle, and I talk to the Lord about everything I want to go on today in my day, mm-hmm. the things mm-hmm. I'm going to face, the things I'm going through, and say amen, and I'm on my day. So right. that helps you mind, spirit, mm-hmm. Body, so absolutely. All those things help, but it's just take the small things. But like I said earlier, just get started. You have to do something. You can't just keep having the conversation about what I'm going to get ready to do, or this is about to get started. Do something.
Right. Start something. And so we're going to go ahead and pay our sponsors. But before we do that, where can they find you on Instagram, Corey?
You can find me on Instagram at C Lavelle Savage.
All right, you see it here, C Lavelle Savage, LOVELLSAVAGE. And Megan, where can they find you on Instagram?
Yes, you guys can find me at Babies and Burpees over on Instagram. I'm always sharing my best tips and practices, recipes, anything you need.
Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us. If you can hold tight while we pay our sponsors, we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thanks, Toyia.
Thank you.
Today's episode of The Plug was sponsored by the following companies. Neilani Adora Cosmetics, vegan, cruelty-free, black-owned cosmetic company, providing trendy lip colors and balms full of essential oils to promote lip health and beauty. Luxurious Styles with a Z, home of the Crochet Queen. You pick the hairstyle and it's achieved. Conveniently located off I-275. Relax during your visit with complimentary wine and enjoy free Wi-Fi. Call 513-599-1705 to book your experience. Donnie Young, an ADT authorized provider, supplying you with all of your security needs for your home, business, and beyond. For more details, call Donnie at 513-623-0679. TarynStewart.com was created to inspire selfless women to put themselves first. Choose you by making your health and wellness a top priority. Visit TarynStewart.com to schedule a workout. The Art of Fitness, a comfortable place you come to get help in reaching your goals of becoming a better you, inside and out. Call 513-519-3549 to schedule your appointment today. DoYouReallyWantToKnow.com is your one-stop shop for surveillance and private investigation services, which expose corporate misconduct and infidelity. Have a matter you want to know the truth about? Go to www.doyoureallywantoknow.com. JMC Mobile Tax Service is a one-stop shop for all your tax needs. With over 28 years of tax experience, JMC offers professionalism, affordability, and convenience. Call 513-662-3176 to set up your appointment today. Right Touch Spa, LLC, established in 2014. They specialize in stress and pain relief, providing medical, holistic massage, and spa services at affordable rates. They offer traveling massage services and have a convenient location in Cincinnati, Ohio. You can book your appointment today by calling 513-400-7250 or on Facebook at Right Touch Spa, LLC. Look for the Dove. Fitness Queen Royal Fitness is here to help you with all your fitness goals. Follow them on Instagram at Fitness Queen Royal Fit, N as in Nancy, for their next class. Women of color, physicians, and psychologists committed to empowering communities of color through conversations about physical and emotional health. They are subject matter experts who have knowledge and a message to share about diversity, health, and careers. Check them out at melaninhuepodcast.com. You Can Still Live. Gain strength to move through personal and professional life changes without reading a lot. Get your copies of You Can Still Live at tinyurl.com/You Can Still Live and follow the author and speaker on Instagram at REBECHAUN. And last but certainly not least, vote Philip O'Neill for City Council. Philip believes we need to get back to the basics of integrity, honesty, and trust. The city needs more servant leadership, putting you, the people of Cincinnati, first. Philip O'Neill is a candidate for the people. Find him on Facebook at Vote for Philip O'Neill and online at www.votephilopo'neill.com. The Plug thanks all of our sponsors for helping us keep you connected.